Jungkook sat quietly beside Wine's bed after the doctors had shifted her into another room. She lay there, still unconscious, her breathing slow but steady. His eyes never left her face, so familiar yet so different. She wasn't the same girl he had once held close. Time, pain, and the weight of carrying a child had changed her. Her body had grown softer, rounder, fuller. As he sat there lost in thought, something caught his attention. One's stomach moved. At first he blinked, unsure if his tired eyes were playing tricks on him. But then, there it was again, a tiny ripple under her skin. His heart clenched, and an unfamiliar warmth spread through his chest. Slowly, almost hesitantly, Jungkook reached out and placed his trembling hands against her belly. The moment his palm touched her skin, he felt it, the gentle but undeniable kick of their child. His breath hissed, his throat tightened, and before he could stop himself, tears welled in his eyes. He had never felt something so real, so intimate, so powerful. Jungkook, hello baby, whispered, his voice breaking as a tear slid down his cheeks. It's me, I'm your father. As if in response, the baby kicked harder and Jungkook let out a shaky laugh. He pressed his forehead against Wine's hand, clutching it tightly. You know me already, don't you? You are listening. You are telling me you are here. For a while he simply sat there, whispering to the life inside her, pouring out words he had never imagined himself saying. His entire world seemed to shrink to this room, this woman, and the tiny heartbeat he could not hear but could feel. When the baby's movement eventually settled, Jungkook reluctantly lifted his hand from Wine's stomach. The warmth lingered on his skin as if reminding him of the bond he had nearly lost forever. With a shaky breath, he reached into his pocket. His fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. Slowly he pulled it out, a ring. Under the dim hospital light, it shimmered, a symbol of promises always made and dreams they spoken. Jungkook stared at it for a long time, his chest heavy with memories, the laughter they once shared, the love they once knew, the future they were supposed to have. Jungkook's point of view in the past. Today marked Jungkook and Wine's anniversary. He had been planning a surprise for her. As dawn approached, he kept staring at the clock, waiting for midnight. The moment the clock struck 12, he immediately called Wine. She picked up right away. Wine, happy anniversary, baby, she said softly. Jungkook, happy anniversary, my queen, he replied, his voice warmed with affection. A parcel will reach your place in the morning, and in the evening I have something special planned for you. Be ready. Wine's eyes lit up with excitement. Wine, where are you taking me? She asked, eager. Jungkook chuckled at her curiosity. Jungkook, you will find out when we get there. After talking for a while, they ended the call. Jungkook lay back in bed, his mind replaying the plans he had made for tomorrow, and soon drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Wan received a parcel. As she opened it, her eyes widened in delight. It was a stunning yellow dress. She could not take her eyes off it. Inside, she also found a neatly folded note written in Jungkook's handwriting. Wear this dress and wait for me at 4 p.m. I will come to pick you up. Wine's heart fluttered. She smiled to herself, carefully folded the note back, and gazed at the dress with growing excitement. Finally, evening arrived. Wine got ready with great care, applying makeup exactly the way Jungkook liked. By the time he called, she was already waiting eagerly. She rushed downstairs and saw him standing beside his car. The moment Jungkook laid eyes on her, he froze, staring without a blink. Wine blushed under his gaze as she walked closer, trying to talk, but he remained quiet. With a playful wave of her hand in front of his face, she broke his trance. Wine, I have been talking for a while and you are not even responding, she teased. Jungkook smiled. Jungkook, you look so breathtaking that I can't focus on anything else. Her cheeks flushed a deeper shade of pink at his word. Jungkook, shall we go? He asked gently. Wine nodded. He quietly opened the car door for her, and as she slid into the seat, she gasped. A large bouquet of red roses lay waiting for her. Wine's eyes sparkled with joy as she picked it up and inhaled the sweet fragrance. Jungkook slipped into the driver's seat, glancing at her smile. Wine, they're beautiful, she whispered, leaning over to plant a soft kiss on his cheek. Jungkook grinned and started the engine, driving them forward into the evening. Jungkook had Wine's eyes gently covered with his hands as he guided her out of the car. Step by step, he led her toward a destination only he knew. Wine giggled, half curious and half impatient. Wine, how much longer, Jungkook? When will we get there, Jungkook? We're already here, he whispered. Slowly, he lifted his hands from her eyes. Wine blinked, her vision adjusting, then froze in awe. Before her stretched the vast, endless ocean, waves glistening under the fading starlight. Right at the shore stood a beautifully decorated canopy, draped in flowing white fabric. Roses and countless other flowers adorned the place, their fragrance mingling with a salty breeze. Candles flickered softly in every corner, casting a golden glow. In the center sat a large, elegant cake. Wine gasped, unable to move, as if she had stepped into a dream. Wine, you did all this? Jungkook smiled tenderly. Jungkook, yes, come, let's go closer. Unable to hold back her excitement, Wine ran toward the setup, her laughter carried by the cool sea breeze. She sat down, her eyes drinking in the beauty around her. The sound of waves, the candles, the scent of roses, it was pure magic. Jungkook joined her, placing a candle atop the cake. Together they made a wish, their fingers brushing lightly before blowing it out and cutting the cake. Wine wanted to feed him the first bite, her smile growing brighter than the candle. Picking up the piece of cake, she held it out toward his lips, but Jungkook didn't take it. He fed her the piece. Wine, what's wrong? Won't you eat? She teased Jungkook. Oh, I will, he said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Just not this. Leaning forward, he brushed his lips against her face, gently licking a trace of cream from the corner of her mouth. Jungkook, delicious. Wine's heart skipped violently, her breath catching in her throat. Butterflies fluttered widely in her stomach, and for a moment she felt as if she had been transported into another world. Jungkook chuckled softly at her flushed reaction. Jungkook, dinner will be here soon. She nodded, still dazed, and soon the food arrived. They shared the meal, laughter and soft glances passing between them. Later, hand in hand, they strolled along the shore, the cool waves lapping at their feet. The world seemed to fall away until only the two of them remained. Without warning, Jungkook pulled her close, his lips meeting her in a tender kiss. One responded instantly, melting into his. The kiss deepened, shifting them gentle to passionate, as if neither could hold back any longer. Jungkook's lips trailed down to her neck, kissing her softly, then harder, sending shivers racing through her body. He held her tightly against him, claiming her mouth again with growing urgency. In one swift motion, he scooped her up in his arms and carried her back beneath the canopy. Gently, he laid her down amidst the roses and candlelight, leaning over her as his lips found hers again. His kisses grew deeper, more desperate, each one filled with love and longing. In that moment, with the sound of waves crashing softly in the background and the world glowing around them, it felt as if the universe itself had stopped, leaving only Jungkook and Wine lost in each other. The link of the smooth part is given in the comment box. You will find it in the ex-boyfriend as your professor part. Only those who are interested in watching will watch it. Please don't make any bad comments about it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Hours later, Jungkook and Wine lay tangled in each other's arms, the sound of the ocean still echoing faintly in the distance. Jungkook, I have something for you, he murmured softly. I meant to give it earlier, but it slipped my mind. Wine looked at him curiously. Jungkook reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Her breath caught the instant she saw it. Her heart already knew what was inside. He opened it, revealing a delicate ring that shimmered under the candlelight. Jungkook whined. His voice was steady yet filled with emotion. Will you marry me? Tears instantly filled her eyes, her lips trembled, but her voice was firm. Why, yes, yes, Jungkook. He slipped the ring onto her finger, sealing a promise she had once thought she would never find. Everything felt too perfect, too magical, like she had stumbled into a dream she never wanted to wake up. Tears streamed silently down her face. Seeing her cry, he grew worried. Jungkook, why are you crying? Wan shook her head, smiling through her tears. Wan, it's nothing. I just never imagined all of this. It feels like a dream too good to be true. Jungkook cupped her face gently, his lips curving into a smile. Jungkook, none of this is a dream, my love. It's real. Very soon we will be married. He pressed a tender kiss to her forehead, and with that quiet promise, they both drifted into sleep. Weeks passed. Jungkook became increasingly busy with work, barely finding time to speak with Ryan. Then one evening, out of the blue, her call came. When Jungkook, her voice was calm but carried a weight he could not place. I need to talk to you. It's important. Can you meet me today? Jungkook, of course. Where? He asked. Fine, the usual place. I will be waiting for you, she replied. Jacob agreed, though confusion gnawed at him. Why did she sound so serious? By the time he finally reached the meeting spot, he was already late. He searched everywhere, but she was gone. He waited for hours, dialing her numbers again and again, but she never picked up. Eventually, exhausted and frustrated, he drove home. What he found waiting for him there shook him to his core. His mother was sitting in the living room, her expression unreadable. Jungkook's mom, Jungkook, she said softly, a girl came by today. Her name was Ryan. His heart dropped. Jungkook, what did she say? Why didn't you make her stay? Jungkook's mom, she was in a hurry. His mother explained. She said she had been waiting for you for a long time, but could not find you. She asked me to give you this. From her hand, she placed a ring into his palm. The very same ring he had slid onto one's finger that night by the ocean. Jungkook froze, his body numb. Jungkook, what do you mean? Why would she give this back? Jungkook's mom, she didn't tell me much. His mother continued carefully, only that whatever relation she had with you, she no longer wished to continue it. She left quietly after that. The words struck Jungkook like lightning. His chest tightened, his thoughts cluttered. He wanted to believe it was all a misunderstanding. There was another explanation, but the cold weight of the ring in his hand was undeniable. He staggered back to his room, his mind refusing to accept reality. All night he tried calling Ryan. Every attempt failed. Her phone was switched off. The next day, desperate, he went to her house, only to find she no longer lived there. She had vanished without a trace. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. He searched, but there was no sign of her. Each night he clutched the ring she had returned, unable to understand why. Then came an unexpected twist. Jungkook received several job offers, but one particular name caught his attention, a prestigious college, one she had always dreamed of. Somewhere deep down, hope flickered. Perhaps fate would bring Ryan back to him, and fate did not disappoint. On the very first day of class, his eyes fell upon her. Ryan, she was there, alive, radiant, yet distant. Their gaze met for a fleeting moment, and then she looked away. After class ended, Jungkook was waiting outside for Ryan. Wan saw Jungkook as soon as she left the class. Wan hurried away before he could reach her. Jungkook stood silently and watched her as she went. He felt hurt. After saving Ryan in the library that day, he wanted to talk to Ryan, but by the time Jungkook reached the door, Ryan had left. She gave him no chance to speak, no chance to explain, no chance to ask the million questions clawing inside his chest. She kept her distance, refusing to let him close. And so Jungkook told himself he had to be content. If this was all fate would allow him just to see her even from afar, it would have to be enough. But deep inside he knew it wasn't. From past to present, Jungkook noticed Wan's fingers twist, her eyelids fluttering lightly. Slowly she opened her eyes, the blur of the room coming into focus until her gaze landed on him. For a moment, silence hung between them like a heavy curtain. The white walls, the faint beeping of machines, everything told her exactly where she was, a hospital, and if Jungkook was there, then he knew. Her chest tightened, fear creeping in. At any moment he could ask the one question he had fought so hard to keep buried, but she straightened her spine, steeling herself. She could not let her emotion betray her. Jungkook's voice finally broke the silence, low, trembling, but firm. "Jungkook, why didn't you tell me? Why did you hide something like this from me?" One's lips pressed into a thin line. His words sparked an A inside her chest, an A mixed with anger. "Wine, because we don't have that relationship anymore, Jungkook. I'm not obliged to tell you anything." The sharpness of her tone cut through him. He lowered his eyes for a moment, the sting of her words settling deep, but he forced himself to look back at her, refusing to stay silent. "Jungkook, you owe me an answer, Wine. That child, it's ours, isn't it?" Her heartbeat quickened for a moment, her voice trembled, and then, in a breathless whisper, she admitted, "Wine, yes, but that doesn't mean you have any right over this baby." The pain in Jungkook's eyes deepened, but he held it ground, voice thick with hurt. "Jungkook, why are you pushing me away? Why are you cutting me out of everything? At least today, tell me the truth." One turned her face away, her voice hardened, but her eyes burned with unshed tears. "Why are you even here, Jungkook? Isn't your marriage already arranged? What happens if your fiancés find out? Did you think about that?" Jungkook froze, realizing in an instant she knew about Suzy. "Jungkook, I never agreed to that marriage," he said firmly. "It was my parents' decision, not mine. I broke it off weeks ago." One's eyes reddened slightly, but she said nothing. Her silence spoke volumes. The war inside her, the exhaustion that weighed on her spirit. She was too tired, too broken to fight anymore. "Jungkook, why did you keep everything a secret?" He pressed, desperation leaking into his tone. "Why cut me off? Why vanished from my life without a word?" Her gaze snapped back to him, sharp and bitter. "Why ask yourself that, Jeon? That day I waited for you for hours. You never came. My words mattered more than ever, and you weren't there. I went to your house because I had no choice, and after what happened there." Her voice fluttered. "I decided I would never speak of it again." Jungkook's chest tightened. What happened there? He thought he knew, but the way she said it, the way her eyes darkened, told him there was more, something he had never been told. "Jungkook, what happened? Please, Fine." His voice cracked, raw and pleading. "Don't shut me out this time." She closed her eyes, her body trembling. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, suffocating. "Wine, your mother's no." "Ask her. I can't breathe here anymore. I need to leave." Jungkook stepped closer, his panic rising. "Jungkook, you can't. The doctor said you are not fit to move yet. Please, just rest." But one pushed his hand away, her fragile strength flaring for a moment. "Wine, don't, Jungkook, please. I just want to be alone." He froze, her plea slicing through him like glass. For a long moment he just stood there, watching her torn between anger, fear, and heartbreak. Then slowly he stepped back. When lay down again, her body too weak to fight any longer, she curled into herself, her breath so low, her energy drained. Within moments she drifted back into a fragile sleep. Jungkook stood by her bedside one last time. His heart was turmoil. Then, without another word, he walked out of the hospital. There was only one place left to go, home, because his mother had answers, and he could not no longer bear not knowing. Jungkook stormed into his house, his steps echoing with rage. The silence inside felt heavy, almost suffocating. "Jungkook, Mom, where are you? Come here right now." His voice thundered through the walls. Hearing his furious call, his mother and father hurried into the living room. His mother frowned. "Jungkook's mom, what happened? Why are you shouting like this?" Jungkook's eyes burned with anger as he turned toward her. "Jungkook, what did you say to Wine?" His mother froze, startled. She tried to mask her guilt with confusion. "Jungkook's mom, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything." "Jungkook, don't lie to me." His voice trembled, half with fury, half with pain. "You did say something. Tell me exactly what happened that day. I have already learned enough. I just want to hear it from you." His mother swallowed hard. For a moment she looked away. Then, with a shaky breath, she spoke. Jungkook's mom, everything I did for a good Jungkook. That girl, she has no parents, no proper upbringing, no family values. She could never be good for you. She is poor. She doesn't belong in our circle. You were supposed to join your father's company, but because of her, you wasted your time chasing meaningless jobs. I could not let that continue. Jungkook's jaw tightened, his hand shook until they found the vase on the side table. With a roar, he smashed it onto the ground, shards scattering across the floor. His father stood silently, watching the storm unfold, but said nothing. Jungkook, you only thought about yourself, about your pride, your so-called status. His voice cracked as his eyes brimmed with tears. Did you even stop to think that you were destroying two lives? Did you not see your own son breaking every single day? You saw it all, but still you stayed silent. His mother flinched at his words but pressed on, her own voice trembling. Jungkook's mom, I found out about your relationship only days before she came here. When she came to the house, I noticed the ring on her finger, and I realized things had gone too far. I reminded her your marriage had already been arranged, and I knew you would never disobey us. Jungkook's mom, I told her it was better to end things. At first she refused, but after I explained, she left. Before going, she removed the ring and handed it to me. Jungkook's tears finally spilled down his face. He knew his mother wasn't telling him everything. He could hear it in her tone. One had not left quietly. She had been humiliated, forced to walk away. Jungkook, you never trusted me, he whispered bitterly. You never believed that your son would not make a bad choice. You could have come to me just once. Do you have any idea what your so-called decision cost us? She was pregnant, Mom. She came here that day only to talk to me, but you threw her out. The words hit like a thunderclap. Both his mother and father froze, their eyes wide with shock. His mother staggered back, her voice breaking. Jungkook's mom, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Everything I did, I thought it was for the sake of this family. I never imagined. Jungkook shook his head, his face twisted with grief and rage. Jungkook, enough. I can't stay here any longer. This house, where my child and his mother were disrespected, I will not live here from this day forward. You have lost your son. He turned sharply and stormed out, his footsteps fading into the silence he left behind. Jungkook's mom, Jungkook, his mother screamed, her knees buckling as she collapsed onto the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Her wails filled the empty room, raw and piercing. His father finally moved closer, looking down at her with a mixture of disappointment and sorrow. Jungkook's dad, I can't believe you did this, he said quietly, his voice heavy. Because of your obsession with status and appearances, you have lost our only son. Without another word, he turned and disappeared into his room, leaving her broken on the floor. Jungkook's mother sat frozen, staring at the door her son had just walked through, her tears falling endlessly onto the cold ground. Jungkook rushed into the hospital, his heart pounding in his chest. The moment he reached the ward, he froze. Wine wasn't there. Panic crawled at him as he searched frantically, moving from one corridor to another, asking anyone he could find, but she was nowhere. Finally, a nurse stopped him and said softly, Nurse, she's gone back home. Jungkook's hand went to his head. Home? He didn't even know where Wine lived anymore. No address, no way to find her. For the first time in his life, he felt utterly helpless. There was only one option left, college. That night, he went to the apartment he had secretly bought long ago, the one he had planned to share with Wine after their marriage. He had dreamed of surprising her with it, of beginning their new life together there. But those dreams had never come true. As he pushed the door open, the smell of dust and silence greeted him. The place was covered in layers of dirt, a ghost of what it could have been. Slowly, silently, he began to clean. Hour after hour, he scrubbed and swept, as though cleansing his own regrets. By the time he was done, it was late into the night. He had no appetite, no energy left. All he wanted was morning to come, so he could see Wine again. Meanwhile, Vine had gone straight to her own small room. She didn't want to face Jungkook anymore. The humiliation, the rejection, the pain, it all weighed heavier on her fragile heart. And now, with her pregnancy, her emotions surged like a tidal waves, making the bitterness sharper than ever. Next morning, Jungkook went to college, but Vine wasn't in class. He searched, asked around, but she had no friends to guide him. Days passed, weeks slipped by, a month went by without a single sign of her. Then finally, Jungkook discovered where she worked, a small cafe. He went there, standing at a distance, his heart aching every time he caught a glimpse of her. But he didn't approach. He knew if she saw him, she might quit this job too, and he could not bear to push her further away. So he stayed hidden, watching, guarding silently from afar. Through Mrs. Kim, who had grown fond of wine, Jungkook managed to stay informed. She became his secret ally. One afternoon, the inevitable happened. Vine was working in the cafe, even though everyone had warned her countless times not to overexert herself. Her due date was close, but stubbornly she pushed herself the day her body betrayed her. As she waved down a table, a sharp stabbing pain shot through her stomach. She gasped and doubled over, clutching her belly. A scream tore from her throat before she could stop it. Mrs. Kim came rushing over. Mrs. Kim, Vine, what happened? Is it your stomach? Vine's face was pale, sweat dripping down her temples. She whispered, Vine, my water just broke. The pain is unbearable. Without wasting a second, Mrs. Kim grabbed her, calling for help. Mrs. Kim, quick, we need to get her to the hospital. On the way, she told Jungkook, her voice shaking, Mrs. Kim, come to the hospital right now. It's Vine. The baby's coming. By the time Jungkook arrived, Vine was already in the delivery room. The moment he stepped into the corridor, he heard her screams. The sound of her agony ripped through him like knives. His chest tightened, helpless, fear, love, all colliding at once. He ran to the nurse coming out of the room. Jungkook, how is she? Please tell me they are both okay, Vine and the baby. The nurse's face was grave. Nurse, the mother's body is extremely weak. It's clear she hasn't followed the guidance she was given. A normal delivery isn't possible. The baby is also very weak. We can't say if it will survive even with a C-section. Both their pulse rates are dangerously low. The words crushed Jungkook. His knees almost gave out beneath him. He grabbed the world for support, his breath coming with shallow bursts. Jungkook, no, no, please. His voice cracked, his eyes filled. He raised his hands together, whispering broken prayers under his breath. Jungkook, God, please save them, please. Save both of them. I can't lose her. I can't lose my baby. Not like this. In that cold, sterile hallway, Jungkook stood shattered, his world hanging by the tiniest thread, as Vine's cries echoed from behind the doors.